I'm Amy, and this is A-Star News. A-Star News? Where did I get that from? Hi, I'm Amy, and this is A-Star Reads, and I put makeup on today. So hey, look at that. I did something that was for me, that felt good, and I'm here to give you my persuasion tag and to tell you who the winners of my 500 subscriber giveaway were. I want to thank everybody who participated. It was a lot of fun, and also thank you so much for all the well wishes, and thank you to all of you for being such wonderful subscribers. I'm going to start out with the persuasion book tag, and then after that I will tell you who the winners are, and then I'll email each of the winners and we'll take care of all of that fun stuff. So I'm currently reading Persuasion by Jane Austen. I think I have about 3/4 of the way left on it, and I'm loving it. So far it's shaping up to be my favorite Jane Austen novel, even more than Pride and Prejudice, I think. We'll have to see. I actually think I read it once before, but if I did, I was really young, because it's all very familiar, but I don't remember ever watching the movies. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm gonna watch the shows after this and see if I actually read the book or I've actually watched the movies. But for some reason, this story is very familiar. I know everything that's going on as I read it. So I was tagged to do this by John from Hey Y'all Listen Up, and he had tagged me because I think he was tagged by the Written by the Book, who's the one that created this. So go ahead and check out the original video. And John had heard that I would be reading Persuasion, so he figured he might as well tag me, which is perfect. So thank you, John. Apparently he didn't care too much for it, but you know, Jane Austen has a very specific style. I was really excited to watch his tag, so if you get a chance to check his out, go ahead and do so. John has a great variety of books, and I'm always learning about books that I've never heard of before on his channel. And he's just very interactive, and he does a good job of supporting his fellow booktubers. And so of course I want to support him, so make sure you go and check out John over at Hey Y'all Listen Up. And I'll put all of his information as well as Written by the Book's information down in the description box below. This was very creative. I absolutely love the work that went into this, and I think these questions are amazing. So congratulations, Emrita, this is beautiful. Question number 1. Persuasion, like many Jane Austen books, has been successfully adapted to screen many times. Name your beloved on-screen adaptations of a book published before 1900. Okay, so I'm not sure that this is my favorite. It's just the first thing that came to mind, and it was kind of funny, so I figured, well, I might as well just put it. So I'm gonna put it. And this was the 1996 version of Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes, which I was obsessed with. 13-year-old Amy, because that's the year it came out, 13 and teenager Amy was obsessed with this movie. I loved the music. I know I had the soundtrack. In fact, it has an amazing soundtrack. And it was a very unique version. There was so much I loved about this movie. And I don't know if that's embarrassing to say now, but if you loved that movie, let me know in the comment section down below. If you hated it, also let me know. I'm curious if this is something I should be embarrassed of. Question number 2. In Persuasion, Anne and Captain Wentworth really go through the ringer. What's your favorite angsty romance that isn't them? Well, I can tell you my least favorite angsty romance, because I'm currently listening to Sense and Sensibility, and I just hate the Marianne and Willoughby. I don't like a lot of the characters in this book anyways. And that's why I gave it such a low rating to begin with. It's so well written, like it's still Jane Austen, so it's good, but I can't stand the majority of the characters in Sense and Sensibility. They're just, I don't know, I can't, and I really cannot stand Marianne and Willoughby. It just drives me nuts. Anyways, but that's not the question. The question is your favorite, and I'm gonna have to say I really liked Angsty, Lucy and Arthur in Dracula by Bram Stoker. And I think this was angsty because it was clear she was gonna pick Arthur, and everybody knew she was gonna pick Arthur, but she couldn't decide between the 3 different men. And then, you know, Arthur was just so in love with her and didn't care that she was slighting him. And so, ultimately, I think I don't want to give any spoilers, but you know, she gets seduced by a vampire, and there's all kinds of things that go on, and yet he just loves her and just wants to rescue her. And I don't know, it's ridiculous, but I love Dracula, and I liked that storyline. I really did. And it was a fun, angsty romance. Question number 3. Captain Wentworth is a naval captain. Tell us a book featuring a lead character who is in a branch of the military. So for this one, I actually went with Billy Pilgrim from Slaughterhouse-Five. And this is by Kurt Vonnegut. And you know, he's an American soldier and he's suffering because he witnessed the bombings of Dresden. And he's not necessarily the best soldier hero you're looking to follow after. It's just that he is someone who's part of the military, and I loved this book a lot, and it was the first thing that came to mind, to be honest. And the book was about him being a soldier in the military. So, you know, I thought it worked. Question number 4. British naval captains were famous adventurers. What's your favorite adventure story? So I'm gonna say this book that I love so much, and it is such a polarizing book because I've recommended this book a lot and I've had people absolutely hate it. And then it's like either people hated it that read it that I recommended it to, or they gave it 5 stars. And it was like one of the best books I've ever read. So I'm one of the ones that felt it was like one of the best books I've ever read. And that's The Sparrow by Mary Doria Russell. I love this book. It's a sci-fi literary fiction. It really is very literary. My friend thought it was really pretentious. I thought it was beautiful. It's very disturbing in parts, so it gets to a point where it's very, very disturbing. I don't even know how to describe the trigger warnings, especially because it gives away the story. So be aware that it'll probably make you uncomfortable. And it's got trigger warnings. If you're not worried about spoiling it, go ahead and look them up. I'm sure you can find something on that. And anyways, the reason I loved it was because it was this adventure. You know, they were going to this planet called Rakat, and they don't know what they're gonna find there, and they're exploring it. They don't know what is there. They just know that they got a signal from this planet. Can't remember, it's been a while. I need to reread this book. And it really is a spiritual journey as well. The author was originally Catholic, grew up Catholic, but then became Jewish. She struggled a lot with religion, and so I think that that's reflected in this book. I thought it was an incredible book. A lot of people I know thought it was an incredible book. Some people hate it, like absolutely hate it. So just beware. I'm more hesitant to recommend this book nowadays. Question number 5. Anne is quite a dutiful sister. What's your favorite literary sibling relationship? Well, I recently told you how much I loved A Semi-Definitive List of Worst Nightmares. And the twins in that book are Esther and Eugene. And I really loved their relationship. It was very complicated, and not to say that they didn't have issues, especially with their relationship, but the support and the love they felt for each other was it was a beautiful thing. That relationship really came through, especially towards the end. I also just finished The Sea in Winter by Christine Day. It's a sibling relationship, like a much younger boy with like a 12-year-old girl. And I really liked their relationship. It kind of reminded me a little bit of my brothers in my relationship. Like, we actually weren't raised together, but when we're around each other, we just adore each other. He's just a cool kid. My brother, he's 26 or something. He's turning 26, I think, this year. So I say kid, but I'm old, so. But yeah, he's so cool, and he thinks the same thing about me. So I liked that relationship. There was a lot of care the two had for each other. Question number 6. By the standards at the time, Anne was a spinster. Oh dear. Yeah, she was like 27. Yeah, I know how you feel, Anne. What is a book where the female lead is an older woman? So last fall, I read The Switch by Beth OLeary. There's two main characters. There's the granddaughter, who's Lena Cotton, and the grandmother, who's Eileen Cotton. And so Eileen is 79 years old, and the book is very heavily focused on her, and she's my favorite character in the whole book. If you haven't had a chance to read this book, it's not super steamy. Even if it's maybe labeled as a romance, it's more women's lit. And really, I just loved Eileen, and she was an older woman. And she was getting back into the dating world, which I love. You know, you're never too old. Question number 7. Persuasion is one of the most critiqued, referenced books in English literature. And I actually didn't know this. I would have assumed Pride and Prejudice more than Persuasion, but now I know. And so the question is, name a book whose plot or characters or central ideas reference another book. So with this one, I went with a book that I also recently read, which was The Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society by Annie Barrows and Marianne Schaefer. And in this, they talk about Wuthering Heights. They do mention Pride and Prejudice. Everything that Charles Lamb has ever written is mentioned in this book. You know, it's a literary society. So of course, during the whole thing, they're talking about books that they love, books that they're reading, and expressing those books to the group. Question number 8. Captain Wentworth made his fortune at sea. Tell us about a book with a self-made lead character. So with this one, I can't remember how accurate this is, but I'm gonna go with it. And that's 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. The oldest character, the Buendia patriarch, is Jose Arcadio Buendia. He leaves his original town, and I can't remember if he was already rich then. I don't think so, but I'm not positive. And when he leaves, he goes off into the wilderness, exploring, and he founds this small town called Macondo. So he becomes this very important figure, and he never has any problems with money, ever. He's always incredibly wealthy, has a way of almost creating money out of thin air. I mean, not really, but I mean, like, he always seems to be able to make money or has these crazy windfalls. And he passes that on to other people in his family and the generations after. Everybody seems to have no problem making money in this family. They can do some of the craziest stuff, like make little glass, what was it? Were they chickens or something? No, fish, little glass fish, I think it was. And sell those and make a ton of money off of these little glass fish. Like, who actually makes money off of selling little teeny glass fish? Yeah, I mean, but they were always wealthy in this family. They had other issues and other reasons why wealth doesn't make you happy, but he was a self-made man. At least I think he's a self-made man. Question number 9. Persuasion has a lot to say about traditional gender roles. What's a book that plays with traditional gender roles? So for this one, I actually went with Fried Green Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe by Fanny Flagg. I don't think I've ever talked about this one on my channel. I love this book. I gave it 5 stars. I know there's a lot of issues with racism in this book. It's indicative of the times. This was set, I think, between 1920s and 1950s in the South. So obviously it's a very ugly time of history. For this prompt though, I went with Iggy because Iggy and Ruth's relationship, I've heard this is one of the early lesbian novels, even though it's never explicitly said. Iggy and Ruth have a very clear relationship, and they carry on their life together as a couple. Everybody recognizes them as this couple, and Iggy takes on, at the time, what was considered more masculine roles. So I would say that this is definitely a book that pushes some of those traditional gender roles, especially considering this was, like I said, it all took place in the 1950s. Okay, and so question number 10 is optional. It says, finally, tell us a bit of trivia, a fun aside, a personal anecdote related to either Persuasion or any other work by Jane Austen. And honestly, I couldn't think of anything creative for this. I really couldn't. I can tell you that I hate Sense and Sensibility. Okay, I dislike Sense and Sensibility, but I love the movie with Emma Thompson and Kate Winslet. I think it's an incredible movie. I can tell you that the BBC version of Pride and Prejudice is one of my favorite quote-unquote movies of all time. Like, I love it so much. I rewatch it all the time. It's, well, like, what, 5 or 6 hours, but it's so good. And I can tell you that Persuasion is turning out to be one of my favorite Jane Austens so far. I haven't read the others yet, but I will this year. So I'm enjoying my Down Memory Jane thing that I'm doing this year. I'm also really enjoying some of the retellings that I'm reading. I'm excited about the next one as well. So finally, question 11 is tag. Ruby Huber is doing the Down Memory Jane read along. And so I tag you, Ruby. I hope you're having as much fun with Persuasion as I am. And then I'd like to tag Martine from Just Martine because we're actually buddy reading Persuasion together. And so we've been talking about it each week after we read a certain section. And so I'd like to see what she has to answer for these questions. And then finally, I know that Jackie from Jackie Reads and Writes loves Jane Austen. She's talked about Jane Austen on her channel a lot. And I know that she has read Persuasion, so I tag you, Jackie. All right, so that's it for the Persuasion tag. Now it's time to find out who the winners of the 500 subscriber giveaway are. And again, I really would like to thank everybody who participated. So for this, I created my own little spreadsheet, and I took all the answers that everyone gave me from their surveys, and I put them into this based off each book individually. So I have the first book, Painted Drum, the second book, Becoming, and the third book, The Year of the Witching. Okay, so for Painted Drum, there were 13 people who said they would be happy to win this. And so what I did was I got a random number generator and I generated the number 8. And that means that the winner is Sarah Borisco. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If I didn't, I apologize. Sarah Borisco, congratulations. I'm gonna be sending you an email so I can figure out the best way to get the Painted Drum to you. And you're the winner. I hope you enjoy it. Like I said, these are all books that I gave 5 stars to. Book number 2 was Becoming by Michelle Obama. I'm really excited about this. It was a very inspirational book for me this year. And there were 14 people who said they would love to win this. And when I did the random number generator, number 14 is the one that came up, and that was Victoria Garza. So congratulations, Victoria. I'm excited to get Becoming to you, and I hope you enjoy it. Book number 3 was The Year of the Witching, and this one had the most people wanting to win it. 24 people were excited about this book, and that's understandable considering it got a lot of hype on YouTube, and it's a very exciting book. And for this one, I did the random number generator again, and it looks like we got number 8 again, but this time it's Rachel Faulkner. And so congratulations, Rachel. I can't wait for you to read The Year of the Witching. And please, all 3 winners, come back to one of my videos and let me know what you think. Unless you, of course, thought it was the worst book ever and you hate me for giving it to you. Maybe then just don't say anything, but I still kind of would like to know what you guys thought of these books. Congratulations to all the winners. Thank you everyone who participated, and thank you so much for supporting my channel. If you like this video, click the like button and subscribe now so you can be here for the next subscriber giveaway when that happens, when I maybe reach 1,000. That's exciting. That won't happen for a while. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I will see you later.